Hello boaters. Well, some strange things have been going on the canal recently. First of all, the other day I was viciously attacked by this. I managed to beat it into submission and kill it, and maybe one day soon I'll be making a Davy Crockett hat. I don't know, I've not decided yet. Anyway, other strange things that have happened. Two very loud bangs have occurred recently in a matter of a few days, quite independent of each other, so more of that in a moment. So the first strange bang that occurred was at night. It was about 5 to 10 and I was in bed watching Netflix on my little tablet computer. Kath and Kim, by the way. That's quite funny. And yeah, about 5 to 10 there was an enormous bang on my boat, and it sounded just like someone had lobbed a brick onto the roof, which was pretty startling. And I immediately thought that, am I under attack? I was moored in a very sort of remote rural place. The only other people around were a few other boaters. Very quiet place, very safe place really. But I remembered that I just installed 2 new security cameras. So I quickly got my phone out and accessed the video feed from those to see if I could see anybody outside. And no, nothing. I checked the previously recorded material and they had indeed captured the bang, which I'll play you in a moment, and but there's nothing to see. So it's quite a mystery. I don't know what this sound was. I recently installed a couple of security cameras on my boat, mainly for picking up wildlife on the towpath at night. But yeah, as you can see from the video, there's nothing to see in the video itself, but it did record the sound. So have a listen. So what was it? Well, I have several theories, and I think the last one is correct, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't totally explain this. It sounded like someone had lobbed a brick or a stone onto the roof of my boat, but there was no one around. I was moored very close to a golf course, so it could have been a golf ball hitting my roof, but at 5 to 10 at night in the dark, they don't play golf then. Where I was moored, you do get golf balls on the towpath and in the canal occasionally, but extremely rare up where I was moored. It's more a little bit further down that happens. So what else could it be? Maybe someone fired an air gun at my boat. That's unlikely. A small meteorite. That's even more unlikely. What I think it was my boat is very old. And the top part of the boat, because it sounded like it came from immediately above where I was sort of sitting in bed, immediately above me actually is a solar panel, so nothing could have hit that directly, not the roof. It's a very old boat, and the tops of narrowboats, usually they're made, the structure of the top of the boat is made up of square tubing, like 1-inch sort of square tubing. It makes up a framework of the top of the boat, and then the sheet metal will be welded to that. And my boat is, well, 45 years old or so, and it's gone through an awful lot of heating up and, you know, expansion and contraction over the years. Added to that, there's must be a certain amount of corrosion on the inside of the roof. And what I think had happened was, this was a cold night. It was frosty, but not particularly cold. You know, it was only a mild frost. And I think maybe one of the little welds had given out and produced this enormous sound. It was really loud. That's my only theory really. Years and years ago I had an old stove, and one night the stove wasn't even lit, but something cracked in the stove, and that made an almighty bang as well. You know, some people's boats are quite prone to making bangs. Typically, like water and fuel tanks can expand and contract, and then they can make a big bang. And this will happen quite regularly. It's down to temperature changes. My boat never does that, you know. So these sort of loud bangs are totally out of the ordinary. So I reckon maybe a little weld had given out. I inspected the boat. I couldn't see anything wrong. No impact damage, no broken windows. And again, another night 20 odd years ago, I mean, it was a cold winter's night. I was sitting in the lounge and there was a big crack and my front window had cracked. You know, it's just the twisting and the distorting of the steel that eventually stresses build up and things will give occasionally. So that's the strongest possibility that I can think of, but it was pretty frightening. I thought I was under attack at the time. You know, couldn't explain it. Very odd. The second bang happened on the 3rd of March. I'd moved to a different mooring spot, again another fairly quiet place, and I was sitting in my boat shortly, so just a few minutes after 12 o'clock on the 3rd of March, and there was this enormous bang again. I thought, this is weird. There was such a loud bang and the boat shook, and it sounded to me exactly like another boat had bashed into me. I mean, I've been on the canal a very long time and I've had numerous impacts from other boats. I know exactly what that sounds like, and this sounded exactly the same. So I was a bit annoyed because it wasn't a windy day. There was no excuse for anyone to bash into me. So I got up. I was about to go outside and ask them what they were playing at. I opened the door, looked outside. No one. The place was deserted. Not a boat, not a person in sight. Again, it was a mystery. What was that? I thought, well, perhaps there's a lock a little bit farther down the canal. Maybe someone had opened the lock, caused the water to flow, and my boat to bang against the piling on the bank. So I checked my fenders, and they were all good, and there was nothing there that, you know, the boat wouldn't have come into direct contact with the piling. But I put an extra fender down in the middle just in case, because that was the only thing I could think of that would cause this. And then about an hour later, I noticed a little post appear on Facebook. Did anyone else hear the sonic boom? And it was heard all over Oxfordshire. What it was I think there was an aircraft had lost its communications. It was heading towards London, and the military had scrambled a couple of fighter jets to go and intercept it and help guide it down, really. So I don't know what they were doing, but it was something like that. It was not a military thing. It was just they had to get there really quick, so they broke the sound barrier as they raced down there to intercept this plane. But it was, you know, they called them sonic booms, but this was more like a sonic bang. It was instant. It was not thunderous. No sort of a reverb like a thunder sort of clap would do. This was bang and the boat shook. So that was really strange. That was quite an unusual thing to happen. So anyway, yes, on this Facebook post, other people were replying, yes, we thought someone had crashed into us as well. As far as everyone that I've heard of speak about this has said it sounded just like someone had crashed into their boat. So yeah, mysterious things can happen. I mean, when I lived in Cornwall back in like the 70s, Concorde used to fly over there, and that used to cause sonic booms, which would break people's windows and things like that. Eventually, they either slowed Concorde down until it was away from the mainland, or they diverted its course. I'm not sure, but it didn't make sonic booms over Cornwall at the time. After that, but it did cause quite a lot of disruption. But yeah, very strange. Yeah, so the second boom was a sonic boom from a speeding aircraft. The first one, well, I'm still not totally sure what that was. So, who knows? Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. So where's Bushka today? Here he is. Hello, Bushy. Sleeping on my bed, getting mud all over it, I see. Still, that's a pretty good place to be, isn't it? Mm-hmm.